I'm Dale Smith for Looney Politics, and there's talk right now of a potential deal between the NDP and the Liberals to keep the Liberals governing for the next 2 or 3 years through the minority parliament. Now, I wouldn't place too much stock in these stories, however, because part of the information that we've seen is contradictory. In the Maclean story last week, they said that this wasn't broached between Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh during their meeting. Well, in the Globe story this weekend, the person who is reporting this said that it was broached, although this is coming from Charlie Angus, and I don't know that he is necessarily the most reliable narrator in this particular case. As well, some of the other MPs that are quoted are more of the mavericks of the party, and this reads a lot more like wishful thinking than it does actually serious conversations. What we heard from Mr. Angus is that the NDP want to be able to continue to criticize the government very loudly, which could also mean the kinds of theatrics that Mr. Angus was a ringleader in during the committees on the previous parliament, which would not serve the government's interests if they want to get other legislation through other than confidence matters. As well, the NDP want to be able to continue to take credit for things the government is doing, not that anything has stopped them from doing so previously, and they don't want to be seen as propping up the government, even though that is what they would be doing for the next 2 or 3 years if this is an actual deal. For the Liberals, however, I'm not seeing the incentives here. Yes, it would be a modicum of stability for 2 or 3 years. However, they do have other options. The Bloc are in a position to give the Liberals a lot more assistance this time around, and the NDP are in a particularly weakened position, particularly financially, after the last election. They have no incentive to go to an election, and this gives the Liberals the advantage. Because none of the parties are in a position where they would be election ready. The NDP are broke and needing to do a lot of soul searching about their leadership strategies after the last 2 elections. The Conservatives are in the middle of particular consternation around their own leadership. That gives the Liberals a lot more leverage and room to play around. We can also see the advantage for them in terms of being able to break some of the log jams because they can declare more motions, confidence issues, and the other parties are most likely to back down in that case because they're all in a more weakened position. This, I think, gives the Liberals far more stability and ability to play off of other caucuses rather than just relying on a single deal with the NDP. It may work out better for them that way in the long run, particularly if they're not seen as being beholden to the NDP and any of the kind of quote-unquote radicalism that they might be espousing. We'll have to see, however, but I have my doubts that this deal is really in the works. For Looney Politics, I'm Dale Smith.